Mr. Clayton, thank you for your presence here today, your interest in serving the country. I appreciate the conversation we had in the office. I appreciate the relationship and conversations we had over the time in your past public service. In my office, I stressed to you a belief in the importance of our intelligence relationships around the globe, not just Five Eyes, but with many others. Over the past years, there have been reports in the press of allies withholding intelligence or us suspending intelligence sharing. How do you view the relationship with our allies? Do you see a partner services as a force multiplier or simply transactional in nature?
Senator Moran, I think I'll be able to give you a much better answer should I be confirmed and have greater access to those relationships. I know the Five Eyes relationship historically has been extremely valuable to the United States. In terms of bilateral sharing, like anything, I think that's something that you have to assess constantly, whether it's working. But there's no reason not to explore whether you can have something that works.
I assume you would say that it's desirable to have a relationship with many countries around the globe and determine whether there's a relationship that can work in which we're sharing intelligence information.
I think that's really well said.
In your answer to a written question asking if you commit to making sure that Ukraine has the intelligence it needs to apply pressure on Russia, you said, quote, to the extent directed by the president, arm Ukraine and other partners with intelligence that illuminates Russian plans and intentions. I appreciate that you work for the president, but I want to emphasize my belief that any such sharing is critical, and any suspension of intelligence sharing with Ukraine would require very serious justification. And so my question is, if confirmed, do you commit to sharing with this committee the rationale of any such suspension, and do so before the suspension becomes public? Give us a chance to have input in that consequential decision.
Yeah. I expect to have, I would say, frequent and substantive dialogue, including around priorities. The priorities are set to reflect the priorities of the administration and the priorities of the president, but I expect to continue to discuss any change in those priorities. And, again, I'm not privy to these things, but I don't have any expectation that that priority is changing.
I chair an appropriations subcommittee that funds the FBI, and I have a strong interest in supporting its counterintelligence role. It's the lead counterintelligence agency in the U.S., but you note in your answers that the National Counterintelligence and Security Center within OD&I is the, quote, head of the U.S. government counterintelligence activities. How would you characterize the relative roles of the FBI and the Security Center in counterintelligence, and what are the practical effects of how that would work?
Senator, my direct experience with counterintelligence, and obviously I can't go into the specifics, but it's fairly extensive at the moment, is directly with the FBI. Some engagement with the center, but it's mostly directly with the FBI and Homeland Security.
And that past experience, that relationship lends you to what kind of conclusions in that regard?
It's extremely important. The threat is real. The threat to the safety and security of the American people is real. And we need to be vigilant every day. And in fact, I think my colleagues would be happy if, in your role, I made a pitch for more resources.
If they would. Let me ask about your private sector experience, and in preparation for the role that you may soon assume. Have you identified any opportunities where the intelligence community can leverage private sector capabilities to enhance the IC's mission?
Yes, without that. The obvious one is data and data analysis. Making connections where they might not otherwise be apparent, or where the ability to make those connections in the past took weeks and months, and with some of the tools that we have today, can take hours. to make the same connections that are important to combating what I would say is espionage.
Mr. Clayton, thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.